Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 664, recorded live on, what is today, Sunday, January 23rd. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week is Samius Gurobo.
Hi, it's important that's the 23rd because I have a dentist appointment on the 25th. To not forget, that's very important.
I have an eye appointment tomorrow, so...
Nice.
Yeah. Fair warning, Patrick is low on sleep today, so this will be great.
That's right. Consequences of getting old, everybody. You got to take care of yourself more.
Yeah, except I was working, so...
All that.
Get off at work at 2:30 in the morning, start work at 6:45 the next morning. Yeah, fun times. Anyways, hopefully the naps I took will serve us well. This week's screenshot: Little Mama and Purple Canary wear their new red sashes in the 537th DDO screenshot of the week.
Very nice.
Yeah, that would be. I'm just going to assume that this picture is not actually on hardcore. Because that would mean that two people got wings on hardcore, which has been done, but that's just bonkers.
I don't think so.
But that's the cloak from season 5. So there you go. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can catch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website at DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show should be next weekend, and you can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or website, DDOcast.com, with our calendar. On the podcast this week, we got a new preview for Update 53, so we're going to talk about that. Ostensibly, at the end of this, we will also tag on the review that we did with VML and Voodoo. I think that's right, for Update 52. But, Samus and I might talk enough that we might hold that off till later. We'll find out together. It'll be an adventure.
That's right, we'll see. You know how it goes, guys. I'm sorry. When Patrick calls, we all know what we get.
Yeah. We like talking about stuff. Hey, we like hanging out with each other, and we like talking about stuff. I mean, we just talked about sports ball, but neither of us are huge sports ball fans.
Well, that's just it. It's so weird, right? Yeah, it's awkward.
Anyways, that's where we're going today. So let's jump into our game news. Like I said, Update 53. We had the first preview this week. It came out, I think, on Wednesday, and then it was up through Friday. Really quick, I'll give my probably terribly wrong prognostication that I would expect there to be one more preview, probably this week, and then next week we would see Update 53. That's my guess. Although I think they did say that there was a something coming a patch. See,
yeah,
at least for
part of it's a patch, right? Part of it's a patch, and part of it's an update.
Yeah.
So the patch stuff I think is going to come out pretty soon, and then the update stuff will probably come out a little bit later.
The patch stuff could be this week. We might see a Lamania build this week or next week, and then the first week of February. Somewhere. I expect it to be pretty quick. That's the run of it. Here's the thing with this preview, we're mostly getting, and we'll go through the list and stuff, but most of it's going to be quality of life stuff, and then there's some quests and a raid, right? Like that's kind of what's going on. So I don't expect him to take too long to get this out because it's not going to be as crazy.
Also, I think that they're planning on having the new Ice Festival stuff in this thing too, right? Because that's supposed to turn on anytime.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I'm pretty sure I think that's all included.
I would expect I'm going to guess Ice Festival is going to start somewhere around the 3rd, just because that's when the winter games start. But I hadn't really thought about it. Because the old version of the Ice Festival, the Winter Games, like that was originally this tie-in with the Winter Olympics. So, and it's always kind of come around that time frame. Not that the Olympics happen every year.
Right.
But we're talking about a lot of sports stuff today.
I know,
What's
it's
up with
really weird. And
that?
stuff that we really don't know, right?
Yeah,
Stuff
right.
that's just like real fringe.
Um,
Because, like, isn't the United States boycotting the Olympics this year? Which is
so
weird.
they're well, we're sending athletes. There's some sort of like
There's
diplomatic relations thing that's kind of going on.
yeah, there's
Not
a, well,
it's
I don't want to get into it,
it's gonna be weird.
but
It's gonna be
there's
weird Winter
stuff going
Olympics in
on.
general. So
So
yeah,
yeah, it's all sorts of weirdness.
and I think
So
they've also said that they're not gonna have spectators again for the Olympics. So which is unfortunate, but not totally shocking.
yeah, not really.
Um,
I
in
know.
any case,
Anyway, just I was under the impression it was probably going to be sooner than that, but it could be anytime. Whenever it's ready, it's ready. And I think we'll get it. I know there were like weapons. I think got dropped, like graphically, like what they look like. The new, what
ooh,
is it called? Ice Peaks or something. I think dropped on Jerry's stream Wednesday.
that's fun.
He splashed them up on the screen for a second.
New icy things that we always like those, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Although I am not a avid collector of wardrobey things, and I have inventory management issues with with that stuff. So,
Yeah, I
new solution, please.
I need to start really doing some inventory stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But and we didn't talk about this before. I was going to mention it, but I'm dealing with a little bit of DDO burnout right now, and I feel like the last thing I should do is do inventory
Yeah,
stuff.
right. I hear you.
So I'm just like trying to push through with the good times, which is why we were doing some of the hardcore and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
new raid, new ice games, uh, anniversary right on the corner.
In our efforts of ambling, so touching on hardcore. Do you find I found that hardcore season 1 really kind of revitalized my DDO experience because I was kind of in that like low phase, like the bottom of the hill, if you will, about like yeah, I'm not really having as much fun as I usually am, and then hardcore like really kind of push that up right back up.
The,
Do you find that to be
the
true of hardcore, or is it at this point season 5 is kind of just season 5 and it's
So my situation was really different. Historically, my hardcores, because when you stream as much as I do and you play DDO like I do, it turns into a lot of different goals, right? So hardcore for me not only became a new challenge and something easy and different to base the stream around, but it also turned into like my primary, like it took over my like the donations and the subscriptions and stuff like that, like the
sure.
period of time those things signed up on, right? Like it was the thing that people came to the channel for. And again, I know that Samus, by the way, for people who don't know, I finally finished. So it basically took
Hey,
me
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, right? So it basically took 3 years of playing full time, basically, and two uh, basically autos boxes. Like one, each time they experimented with that technology, Samus was the person that used it. So other than that, I basically get all that experience mostly on stream. So yeah, it was a lot. So that's all the racials, all the, and I did it poorly. So I did all the iconics, all the classes, and all the racials all separate. I didn't double up.
That yeah,
So
that'll when you get to the end of there, it's almost less of a doldrums and more of a finish line feeling, I think. But yeah,
so like that happened right at the
sure.
same time that this hardcore started, and I wanted to do something really different and really challenging. So I talked the person that I know that has struggled the hardest with hardcore and asked them to come with me. So I got Jerry to come with me for this hardcore. And by God, I tried so hard. I
Fair enough.
don't know. I don't. Yeah. So like all those things kind of like combined together at one time. So I'm sitting here going, uh, we have what, one more week of the hardcore basically. I think it
Something like
turns off
that.
on the 31st.
That sounds right.
So I'm like sitting there going, do I just go ahead and knuckle down and knock out a quick 10 Reaper points? Do I go ahead and take the character that I was screwing around with Jerry with? That was a little, pretty close to 2,000 favor, by the way. So it's not like we didn't go a reasonable rate. We just, accidents happen,
Yep.
right? Concentration lapse, which is what
That's
I
what
think is
happens
the
in
killer.
hardcore. Yep.
Right. That's what gets you, right?
Yep.
Um,
At least it was
and
a
you just
2,000 and not 4,950 favor.
right. So like, and for Jerry, he's like, well, I surpassed my goal. My goal was this 1750. It's like, thanks, awesome. And I'm just like, but no, that's not a goal. That's like, my guy who jogged to 20 accidentally got 1750. Like, let's.
Sure.
It's like he's like, nah, I'm done. I'm like, ah. So it's hard. It's different seeing the world through some of these different eyes.
Yeah.
It's weird. So I don't know. I just haven't had the shot in the arm this go around that hardcore usually gives me.
I hear it. I didn't
Was
even
it
go in
different for
hardcore,
you?
so
Did you didn't even hardcore at all?
nah. I made a character and I was thinking like, maybe I'll go for, and it's just like,
I think a
I
lot of
couldn't.
people didn't love
Yeah.
the repeat. Like, um, the fact that there wasn't a significant change to the rules
Yeah.
that to change the difficulty, I think really made a lot of people be like, I did that. And I felt like that. That's it. That is exactly how I felt now that I say it out loud. I feel like I did that already.
I also had kind of an opposite of a place of where you were, in that I was at a. I really am enjoying where I'm at on the live servers. Like I got a couple of friends, and we're just like cruising through some lives and Reaper XP and having a blast. So
Well, like, so I
that
don't
was
want to
part of it.
say that I'm not having fun on live right now. Like,
Sure.
I think that, uh, like right now, I feel free in the sense that I can play whatever I want. So like
Nice.
I'm playing. I went back to like play one of my Force wizards, right? Because if they're going to be good, they're going to be good right now. The way the Epic Destinies are working, it's
Mm-hmm.
like. So I'm just like, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play all the quests that I've never done or whatever. So like I went to Salt Marsh and I kind of screwed around with some of those, and I played in the Feywild. So like I am having fun. I'm doing stuff. It's just, man, I was doing a life a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
No, I hear you.
I was getting on. I was put on a schedule. Um, and it's different now. It just feels like I need to take the brakes down. I need to slow down and I really thought hardcore was going to be the thing again, that like, bam, fire me up, get me going. And I'll tell you, I had more fun during those few hours that we played on the hardcore that I think I probably had in a couple of weeks. But it did not. I still, my batteries are low, and I
Didn't
don't know
light
what
the
to do
fire.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't reshoot me up.
I think you
Maybe this
enjoy
new rate.
life, and when it takes, it takes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Well, well, that's just it. And I'm the guy who pushes through, right?
Sure.
I've consistently streamed this game for 40 hours a week, basically, for the last 4 years. And that's not been the case for December, right? Between being sick, a hardware failure, getting sick again, plus trying to battle this burnout, it's been really tough. And I'm really hoping that this new raid, getting back at like being on a quote finished life for me, a brand new raid, stuff like that. Hopefully, maybe that'll be the kick in the pants to get me going.
Well, hey, let's talk
Maybe
about the
anniversary event, something.
let's talk about that new raid and stuff. Since I think we just shoved
I'm
like
trying so hard. I'm trying so hard to get us back to where we want to go.
So back to update 53 preview 1. Here you go. We'll go through the release notes. So our upcoming content pack for update 53 will feature 2 new dungeons, levels 7 and 32, and a legendary raid, level 32, where you will be challenged by the powerful Master of the Hunt. While the dungeons will be appearing at a later preview, we have a first look at the raid with a number of features listed below. Access, yeah. Okay, let's stop there. 2 quests in a raid. Man, that's
Sounds fine for like a pack, right? It's just a
well.
pack. It's
They
not
were
a.
saying 4 to 5 quests originally.
Oh, were
So
they?
yeah. Although okay, when I say originally, I think that was like when they were prognosticating the year, like a year ago or
Oh
something like, or a
well.
couple months ago. Like so, I think it's where they wanted to be. And as when we did our year in review show a little while back, like one of the big things that we all kind of came away from last year was a lack of content relative to
Say
where
it
we
felt a little
normally was.
light, right?
Yeah,
It was a
no,
lot
it's
of.
pretty light, and it's very, it's not just light, it's expansion heavy too, right?
Yeah.
Like most of the like you start looking at the quests, and like over half of them in the last 2-3 years are expansions, which I think is leaving a poor taste in a lot of people's mouth as they're dropping VIP. And like, what? Why am I VIP if I'm paying for the content on top of,
Right.
right? So I'm a little disappointed for 2 quests and a raid. I have not looked at. I didn't go into the raid or anything like that. I heard it was a small 1-room raid with like 2 optional side rooms or something to that effect. So I saw a little bit of chatter kind of along the like, oh, it's only a 1-room raid. How boring.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I like the one room raids.
Yeah. So here's the thing for me with raids is I don't ascribe my enjoyment to it being 1 room or not. And if I actually, kind of go through the list of raids, I probably tend to enjoy the quests that are 1 room, the raids that are 1 room, more than the raids that are not. And
Yeah,
for the record, I
I would agree
count
with
Lord
that.
of Blades and Master Artificer as glorified 1-room raids.
Yes, I agree.
Like it's,
It's like
uh,
a long path to get to the one room.
yeah, but
Yeah,
they're 1-room raids. Um,
exactly.
so no, I like Strahd. I like Baba okay. Killing Time is not a 1-room raid, and I like that raid. Um,
The point
but then
is
like,
it's nice to have a variety.
yeah, Deathworm, Temple of the Deathworm, I'm not super high on because the not 1-roomness is really kind of boring and repetitive. All the mirror puzzles. Riding the Storm Out is. I don't consider Riding the Storm Out a 1-room raid, even though it's really just a really big room. But it doesn't feel like a 1-room raid to me.
Yeah, I would not. I would not call that a one room raid.
But I don't like it either, right? Like it's so.
Oh no, I enjoy that one too sometimes.
I
Again, I
still
think
have
it's
a beef with some of the mechanics, but
well. So for me, that was the first raid that wasn't like Vaughn or Titan that I ever did on the hardcore server. Like that's the I
oh,
first time did that raid on the hardcore server
bold
ever.
choice.
So like for me, it's always going to be like a
Yeah,
special raid
no, I
because
hear
of
you.
that, right? Like I learned to play it, did it for the first time on the hardcore. So maybe if I did it 1,000 times, I'd be in a similar
It's
right.
just like too many, 2 pairs worth of too many puzzles, I think.
But if I think about what like my group does on a Monday, for
Mhm.
example, right? We do like a shroud. Then we go do like a what's the quest in the marketplace with Sully? I can't. Vision of
Vision
Destruction.
Destruction. Yep.
Vision of Destruction. Uh, Mad Artificer, and then a Dryad.
Yep.
Right. So it's a shroud and 3 1 room quests or raids.
Dryad's almost a 1-room.
It's a 1 room.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest of the quests or the raids that I would call it 1 room still and still be one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the point. Like those raids get ran every Monday.
Mhm.
And to have another enjoyable raid in that category seems good to me.
Yeah,
So
I don't care if it's 1-room or not. That's kind of where I'm
yeah,
getting at. Like, is the raid fun? Do I like the mechanics? Do I not hate like the other night mechanics that don't bug me? Right. So
Yep, I agree.
Epic Destiny stuff. So I think the rest of this is mostly going to be what. Yeah, so in addition to the raid, this preview features the following miscellaneous changes, many of which we'll see released before the content update in an interim patch.
Yeah.
Which we're kind of prognosticating this week, maybe next week.
Yeah, this is all that patch stuff.
Yeah, so Fate Singer, range attacks will no longer hide your weapons as they fire. Fate Singer Greater Shout SLA now displays its DC in his tooltip, and it correctly adds evocation bonuses. Is that to the tooltip or to the
God,
the
I
spell
hope
itself?
everything. Hope
Yeah,
it all
well,
works.
yeah, should all work. Why do we still get tooltips that don't have DCs anymore?
I don't know. There's a couple still. Like Color Spray still doesn't have a DC.
I know.
I think.
Just give me the DC.
No.
Crying out loud.
Hiding data is never good.
Various Fate Singer effects will now use the correct names in the combat log. And Majesty now applies Restoration correctly and scales with spell power correctly. This is one of those places, like, I clearly don't know Fate Singer enough. Majesty applies Restoration? What? That seems weird. Fear of the Wild, Primal Scream will not scale correctly with spell power. I mean, good that it works like it's intended. I just feel like if using Primal Scream for its spell, the damage that needs to scale with spell power, I have questions about what you're trying to do with it.
There's certainly been times. I mean, I've certainly seen builds that have used that to kill things in close range.
Yeah, okay.
Not very often,
Yeah.
but
I just think of it like that's an added bonus, right?
I also feel like it was a short window where you could use those abilities at a much earlier level than you were supposed to.
Unyielding Sentinel, the duration of Celestial Mandate is now 15 seconds, up from 10 as per its description. Shadow Dancer, Impale now functions more reliably with repeating crossbows.
I feel like all these things that are going to are more reliable with range combat are great. There's like a dozen of them. I hope they all fix. I hope everything range starts feeling like 100 times better.
Yeah, I'm working on my range character. Actually playing with Draculeta. Trying to get him up into doing some raids. And we're making pretty good progress considering I think we've played like 3 or 4 times and he's up to level 9. So we're doing pretty good there. But I will tell you, like, her range in heroic, at least a bow in heroic, still just is not very satisfying to me.
Yeah, it's not. And
it's slow, and it's like one bullet, and like a third of the time it hits something that's not the monster, so I don't get the damage.
So I was doing an Inquisitive build this go around.
Ooh.
On the hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not that much better.
Yeah.
Like, it also felt really bad. But I tell you, I did the character that I rushed up to 20 on my own that I was going to take, maybe do my Reaper points on, is a favorite soul. And that thing feels insane.
Yeah.
By comparison. Like, not even in the same universe insane.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
I don't know, man. The crossbows, ranged in general, feels so bad.
Ranged power really is backloaded.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of ways, casters are like a little medium loaded.
Probably.
If spell points aren't a problem, they're like once you get to like level 3, they do really well, and then around 12 they really take off.
Yeah,
that's kind of my experience.
Well,
you can hit things. You can hit more things more often than any other.
That's just it. Like I felt like a lot of times, even with the double crossbow, it feels like your shots just didn't. Mm-hmm. They don't register always. Mm-hmm. But it feels like the repeating crossbows, they do a much better job of, for some reason, of your 3 or 4 shots landing, depending on what you have. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I hope all these things are much better. Long story short, everything that's range that's being improved, I hope it works.
I find range to be really great at the end levels. Until you get improved precise shot, I always find range to be just really, slow and disappointing. More so than any other build. So
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with like leveling up as a thrower and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know, man. Like, there's something about bows and crossbows right now that just does not feel right.
Shrouded Champion, Watchful Eye, as granted by Shrouded Champion, now functions. Divine Crusader, Blessed Blade should no longer appear in the buff bar. Draconic Incarnation, Draconic Breath, Epic Strike now has a tooltip that explains its DC. Is that telling me the DC, or is it explaining how the DC is calculated?
Man, I hope that one way or the other we can see what the DC is at the end of it.
Yeah, right. I
It'd
don't
also
really
be
care
nice if
how
you
it's
can see
calculated
the
if I
cone of
see it.
effect too. But
Oh, yeah.
I'll start with the DC.
Yeah. Bring About Destruction really actually gives it spell power. Here's one that I found disconcerting. Draconic Spell Focus, Conjuration now applies its Conjuration bonus. This is very sad to me.
I mean,
because I have been using it for Conjuration bonus. This is apparently not getting an effect for
come on, man.
how long?
Alchemists already have enough. Come on, you have plenty of DC.
Actually,
Alchemists don't need any more help.
I do find that I run into saves a lot when you start hitting into like certain places. The reflexy mobs like the crossbow users and Sharn tend to be a little tricky.
I'll tell you, we did Jerry died in, like I said, in Vaughn, and we like leveled up some screw around characters for the hardcore to just level up to 20. And I decided to do an alchemist. And pre-level 12, the alchemist continues to be very, very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy the pre-level 12 alchemist. There's so many valuable and important decisions, especially on the hardcore.
Yeah.
So if
it
you're
has a great
looking for
playstyle too with the bursting and
yeah,
the
that's
spiking
just it.
and stuff.
Like,
yeah.
well, and there's places where like switching your destinies around makes a lot of sense. You know, if for a low price of switching your destinies around, every time you throw a bottle that kills a bunch of your bad guys, you heal. Right? If you're in the low level and you set up for the healing potion, or sort of vice versa, it's a little bit more difficult with negative energy, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like the AOE heal or whatever. Like a lot of that stuff really pays off.
Yeah, it really does.
So
I love Alchemist as my baseline TR build because it's really even 1 to 30. In everything I'm doing, I feel really good about doing it, and it fulfills a lot of the. I don't have to wait for. I don't need somebody else to have something specific to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, so I don't know if they need any more extra DCs from Draconic. That's all I'm saying. Leave them nerfed. It's fine.
Grandmaster of Flowers. The flow of water no longer increases damage taken by 1,500%.
This seems like a reasonable change, right? I feel like it's okay. Or, you know what, just leave it. Monks can continue to take extra damage. I don't care.
I'm assuming it's doing damage. That's making other, like the mobs, take extra damage. Not you, but...
No, I assume that you're taking all that extra damage. That's why you just get nuked in certain places.
I mean, that'd be funny.
Not because you're wearing pajamas, just because... Oh, gotcha.
Primal Avatar. Primal Avatar SLAs are now considered druid spells for things like casting while raging. Which I think is that's a fantastic change.
Yeah, it's good.
Remove the tooltip reference of a DC for Stormcatcher because it has no saving throw. And Shardstorm will now display correctly on animal forms, which makes me really want to do Shardstorm on an animal because I kind of want to see that. I love Shardstorm. It's actually one of my favorite new Epic Destiny abilities. So
I've played with it a little bit, but not a lot.
So I do an acid alchemist now. So my primary trees are Draconic and Primal Avatar. And you do Thorn and Primal Avatar, which means you get Shardstorm, which when you upgrade it gives you a ton of temporary hit points every time you use it. Plus it's firing and doing damage. So it looks cool.
Yeah.
And I kind of like fire and forget things.
Well, that's, I think, part of the alchemist strength, right? Fire and forget.
Let's see. Undead monsters in a variety of content packs should now no longer heal from positive energy. Probably good.
That seems good. Like, it seems all right.
It's also a note that we've seen before. Soul Survivor is completable once more.
Is this make all the quests and raids open again?
As far as I know, Soul Survivor is the only one that's closed. I'm gonna say yes. I will confess that I don't think I've run Soul Survivor in 2
Hardcore.
years.
I run it on the hardcore, and that's it.
Yeah, I do not like that quest. So,
I
I
don't
don't
think it'd
run
be
it.
that bad. It's just like there's 4 people who know how to run it, and those 4 people will run it all day, every day for
Sure.
years to try to find the item out of there or something. And you're just like, thanks for showing me how to get these globes or whatever. Boop. Like, and nobody else knows how to run the quest.
I don't hate the quest. Like, there's a couple quests in the game that I just hate doing. I don't hate Soul Survivor. I just don't. It's not anywhere. It's low on my level of quests.
Well,
So.
I feel like every time you step in there, the person who is guiding you through the quest is like, "Oh yeah, don't ever go that way, or your computer will die," or don't ever do this,
Yeah.
or you'll instantly get murdered. You know what I mean? And
I
whenever someone's saying stuff like that about a quest, it just puts it on that low. I want to learn category.
I should consider running it again because one of the reasons why I really didn't like it was the ends area, like the end room, and there was like a puzzle, and I did not feel that I was being given very good feedback at all about how to do it, and I found it kind of
Yeah,
aggravating. So
yeah. Well, again, I think that's part of it. It just
yeah. And I don't need
I
to
don't
run it,
know.
so I don't run it. So
Yeah, it's
uh,
just like it's a near miss.
yeah. That whole chain is
But
kind of I'm not super high on that chain in general.
to be fair, though, it's nice that the quests are open.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
hopefully they're all open and running. I tried to look to see if there's anything closed, and I didn't see anything. So
I should run some of
right.
those more. Like really, that chain is just not
Man,
a chain that I. It's not a chain that I run very much, so I don't know it as well as I know a lot of other quests. So I tend to run. That just kind of reinforces the I run it less.
right. Well, we had run it a couple of times, and I had switched characters because of some loot drama, and I was done, and I had left, and I saw the person that I was in that group die because they had continued to run through there, and they clearly had run a way that everybody avoids, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
there was like a death message, and I was like, that's really odd because the only place I know X exists is there, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, well, we were just there, I suppose, but nobody ever goes that way. You know what I mean? And it's just because they're there's a lot of quests that you learn a path and you stick to it like hardcore. Those quests in particular, I feel that's what it's like. Like I feel like there's a lot of extra stuff in those quests, but if
Yes.
you get off the rails, the quest just turns into like so long and
Yep.
spirally out of nowhere
I
that you
agree.
don't want to.
There's like 2 quests where that's not true in that pack. That's one of the reasons why I tend not to run it. Is 'cause there's
That's what
also
I'm
one of them
saying.
is like go find these crests in this bigger area and you need source leads to find them because they're all over the place. So
I don't dislike that quest, but it feels like it needed two like crest defined to fly
there's
around or
no
whatever.
quest where it's go
It's
find this small thing in this big open area in random places that I tend to enjoy.
yeah.
Except maybe Amber Temple, which is
Again,
more of a grudging respect than an enjoy.
I think it just feels like a lot of times some of the things are designed, and when they're designed, the time count is just a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Like instead of finding 2 things for the door, you had to find 4. Little things like that. I think that could. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But
It's an
that's why
optimization thing.
those are the things that I think that people pick up on when it's the quest and they don't get run off. I'm like,
I don't like quests that it's hard to optimize. Let's put it that way.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
But they're not quests that I tend to enjoy running a
We
lot.
are
So
all creatures that want to have like the path of least resistance,
and
right?
I
Like,
am very much if you run with me, and my friends that run with me a lot, especially these days, will tell you like I run quests the same way every time. Because what
well, you
makes
get
me
in
happy
your
is
pattern.
like super efficiency.
Well, that's just it. Everybody has their own separate goals for doing things, right? And that's another thing. Like, how fast you can go, what kind of time you can do, how quick can you go with, can you step the skull up a notch and still be as fast as you did last time? Like all these things factor into your various enjoyment of the game. I would like to see maybe like a pack revisited to kind of like touch up quests a little bit and just make certain tweaks like that.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of that.
And see if that would help like if making that change made that quest get played 20% more. You know what I mean? Like that would be a positive change in my similar things like going back to these other quests that people dislike.
So like 5 more people running today.
Maybe, but think about it
About
more along the
20%
lines
for
of
some
like
of
the
them.
hardcore or something.
Yeah.
Or like what is it, Acid Wit? There's a branch in Acid Wit that you have to like go kill 6 guys that goes nowhere for no reason other than we needed to put in 6 more kill count.
Yeah.
Right? You take those things out, you lower this kill count by 6, you wall that thing off. That quest becomes 80% more fun.
I'll buy that.
Right? So like I would love to see a pack like that. Not that we need to get in these weeds anymore. Keep going with the show.
Along similarly,
Fire,
the
fire.
tents in Siegebreaker are burnable again. Yay!
That's awesome. Same thing for the torches in Inferno now, right? That's all working.
I didn't know that was broken. It's been a while since I've run Inferno.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same
It's
bug.
not
I
in
thought.
my. Yeah, maybe.
Oh man, I hope it's working.
I hope it is too, because I'm out of. I am not running Inferno. I only run Inferno like those quests generally in heroic when I'm leveling
Right.
heroics, and I haven't been leveling heroics very much.
Well, I'll tell you, I started doing them in epics as part of my epic runs because they're quick, efficient, and good XP for their the time.
There's so much good there's
so
so
good
much good XP in
Yeah,
epics.
Epics
There's
is really
so
good, but
much
I've been
fighting
doing
for-
them.
Yeah.
I've been doing them. So
The music in them in Epic is great. That's the best reason to run those quests. Orchard and Epic is the music. The Wayloon prison landscape. The Shadowfell mechanic has been adjusted behind the scenes to help improve performance. Thank goodness, please work.
I'll take it. I'll take anything.
That
Make it
place
better.
is bad. Prison landscape, random encounter, rest for the weary now attempts to remove you from the Shadowfell earlier in its teleport sequence to help improve performance. Good.
Okay.
Grogan the promoter in Thrash Arena now drops his key again. I didn't know he stopped. And that's it. I run that a lot. Plane of Night. The monsters here should now update the monster manual correctly. Cool. Claw, Vela, and Ice Flenser hit point stats have been adjusted. They were incorrectly set as bosses. This explains why the ice base, I have noticed, has been having more problems of late. Because the Ice Flenders are apparently like a lot beefier. Oops. And here's the most important one. The Jinn won't use their whirlwind form anymore.
Rip, we gotta have a go in a whirlwind and sit there for an hour.
Oh. It certainly makes that more exciting.
Yeah.
See, this note is of almost no consequence, but I have questions. Captain Laurelin Delirander has a slightly less horrifying face.
Yeah, that's what I'm like trying to figure out who that person is and how terrifying their face was before.
Yeah, right. Is that the captain in Cyber Atoll?
I don't know. I don't
Man.
recognize this name at
I don't
all.
either.
Oh man, we're gonna have to go find him.
I know, right?
Chat, help us.
Spells. Death Aura will no longer tick on the player if they're at full health. Now, there's a question about this that I saw, and I didn't see a dev actually answer this. My understanding of what this is saying is that it won't tick on you if you're at full health. It will still hit the enemies around you.
Yeah, I imagine that's got to be correct.
If it's not correct, then that's how it should be.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense that the spell doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Celestial Bombardment is marginally less blinding.
It is very bright.
I was in a group, and I got 2 of them dropped right on my head.
Oh, man.
Because I was fighting something else. It's just like, oh my god, I can't see anything. It is a fun graphic, but it's like, wow.
again, I played that favorite soul on the hardcore server, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like screwing around with all these things. And yeah, that was very bright. It's enough that I don't cast it. You know what I mean? Like it's too bright for me. Yeah,
Storm of Vengeance now applies its lightning damage again.
that's
Call Lightning
that's good.
Storm is now much more consistent about picking actually useful targets and delivering damage at its intended rate of fire. What was it picking?
It's stuff like way the hell off camera, like way,
Okay, that was clear.
way.
Well, it says it
Yeah.
no longer hits through walls or doors.
Well, I mean that's. I don't know. I have not tried it in a long time. It's always a spell that I've wanted to be really good. So
I
I'll
found
see.
it to be useful on the old version of the Stormreaver cookies cast Call
Yeah.
Lightning, so I use it a lot in like lower levels, which seemed to work pretty well. But
Well, in low levels, you want to get your mobs together, so you just
yeah.
do your AOE and kill them.
We'll
So you're
on
fine if the
AoE.
dungeon comes from. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're fine if everything from the dungeon comes from a year away.
Chaos Hammer now damages your hard target. Probably good. Holy Smite no longer strikes targets through walls and doors. There's gonna be a lot of that actually. Turn to Frog and banish dismiss spells will no longer break some quests. Yeah, I have definitely actually done that. If you like frog something that's not yet active, bad things happen.
Yeah, I feel like that's been less of a problem lately, though. So hopefully this is the last.
Meteor Swarm now respects epic defensive fighting range limitations. Good. Lionheart and Reincarnate now properly take the eschew materials meta magic. Cool.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Fire Seeds, Ice Flowers, and Bursts of Glacial Wrath now take appropriate meta magics.
You know what?
Blurs.
Actually, I'm sorry.
What was that?
Why do we still have materials? Like
Oh.
I know thematically they make sense, but they should just be gone. Or you should just make a free backpack slot called inventory, like for that stuff, and then you can just dump it in there.
One, so they can sell Omni Spell stuff.
That's fine.
Two, I think from a game design standpoint, it's to try to, like the melees are damaging their weapons and have a cost to doing their thing. So I think it's supposed to be the like quote cost of doing your thing.
Yeah, but does that even happen anymore? Really? I guess kinda.
Sort of, yes.
Sort of, yes, right?
Kinda. I mean, I'm with you. Like, this is considered spell components. That's fine.
Like, I feel like there's a better way to adjust it to make it.
Yeah, 5th edition.
Not be a
you have a
thing.
focus, and you can cast stuff through your focus.
Yeah, that's fine. Or if you want to take a gold tax, take it, straight up gold tax. You can have a higher category of things that's important to have your spell components on. That's fine. But like the important spells, your resurrections, your stone dust, etc.
Yeah.
Like your big thing. But I don't know. I feel like we might as well.
I mean, I'm kind of actually at the point where I need more things to need Omnispell stones. Wait,
Right.
the bigger one, the one that's like the rare components, because I keep getting them from I don't
daily dice and stuff.
daily
right?
daily dice and things that I don't understand where I'm getting them from, but I have like giant stacks of them and I don't.
That's just it. Like
them.
I almost every once in a while I just won't buy components. Like I'll just do a life and I just will burn those Omni dusts and stuff to just kind of lower them back down again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, why do we even have this system?
Yeah.
It just seems like an unnecessary step. Anyway, sorry to distract.
No, you're good. I think it's essentially to do game balance between inventory and of spellcasting.
Well, it's just I feel like if they do that, you clean up like the teleport into a teleport stable.
Yeah.
Suddenly everyone has a dozen backpack slots back again in their usable inventory.
Yes, please.
Maybe give or take. Feels like a huge deal for quality of life stuff.
Look, if you SSG, if you're listening, if you want to make like massive headways into people's quality of life, anything related to inventory management, it's gonna be a win.
Right. Well, I guess as long as it's
and they know that
worded in the way that people will take it correctly.
Right.
That's part of it.
Blur is back to being 20%.
That seems good.
I have a
Unless it
question.
was
Was it higher
unless it
or
was
lower?
higher. Yeah, I
I
gotta say,
don't
unless it was
know.
higher.
Sometimes I want them to tell me what it was. Like,
I never want to know.
oh, okay.
If it was like 56 and I didn't know and I didn't take advantage, I'd be like, "Ugh, why didn't I log in during that time? Blurry was 56. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, no, I don't want that. I never want to know.
Half-Elf's Greater Mark of the Storm text description now matches the new Call Lightning Storm's power. Traditionalist Caster in Tiefling Scoundrel no longer resets your enhancement trees when you log in. That's important. That would be
Yeah,
frustrating.
seems reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Not having to reset stuff every time.
Uh, Bombardier's caster level bonuses and the cores now stack more reliably.
No, stop.
I
Stop making them so good.
like them. It's so much fun.
I know they're already too good. Stop it.
Fate Arc Illusionist illusory augmentation is no longer lost on death. Same for Swashbuckler's fast movement. That explains why my bard felt slow the other day.
Yeah, all these kind of bug fixes are great.
Yep. Nature's Warrior go for the kill no longer costs double the SP. It's probably good. Enduring Beast and Nature's Protector no longer has the wrong minimum level. See here, they tell you it was 4, it needed to be 3 as it's a tier 3. They should tell us what it
Now, see, now we're host. Now that means that it had to be in our favor, right? Because they're telling us this before. Like,
yeah,
look, guys,
maybe.
this was on our bad before. We fixed it now. Now it's correct. So if they didn't tell us, that means it had to be like way in. It had to be like 90%.
Right. Divine Intervention in War Priest and War Soul now works while moving. Great.
That's good. Those are nice. Yeah.
Fate Arc Illusionist's Illusionary Augmentation now correctly grants its bonuses if you have obtained Augment Summoning from a temporary source, such as gear or an Augment. Great. And Hope for Success from the Favorite Soul Beacon of Hope tree now applies more reliably. So good. Here's a sidebar. A variety of cookies tooltips have had their spell portion of their tooltip adjusted. I think we talked about this briefly in the review that may or may not be a part of the show. How have you been finding the cookies, the cookie changes?
I honestly don't even know what the cookie changes are.
Oh,
I know that they changed one of them. They used to be like the call lightning into teleport, I think.
no,
And
the call lightning. The teleport is still a teleport. The call lightning one. We actually mentioned this earlier. Was the Stormreaver one? It's now.
yes,
I don't remember which one it is. A bunch of the cookies now have epic destiny abilities.
yeah. Someone had said that.
Yeah,
I think it was you.
maybe.
But yeah, I haven't played with them. Maybe you said it on another
I
show.
haven't used all of them. I have. I like the change. Don't get me wrong. It's still better than what they were generally. They are less fun than I was expecting them to be. Like their damage is not very high because you're not getting a higher cast level. You don't have the spell power behind it, which does a lot more than I thought it did. Than you think it does.
Do they count as whatever it is for like not burning them up? You know what I mean?
An epic strike?
Well, like is it gnome maybe that has a chance of like you use a potion but it doesn't
Oh,
get used?
I have no idea. I have
Like I
never tried
feel
to
like
put those two things together.
one, I feel like if you can somehow eat your cookie and have it too, I feel like then DDO has won. But I feel like that's what you would kind of need to make it an effort kind of worth playing around with them. Because the low levels go so fast as it is.
Yeah, they do.
Right? So like taking the time and doing something that intentionally kind of slows you down extra to like enjoy these things have either got to have a big boom so they feel really fun, or they have to have some sort of like reusability that you can have to them or something.
So many of them just are very ineffective above level like 7.
Well, and that's part of the problem with
Yeah.
those kind of effects, right? You're definitely going to have effects that are lower quality and versus higher quality or higher power versus lower power. But I haven't, to be honest, I carry around the cookie thing with me, and other than like the jump cookie, I don't know if I've used a cookie in forever.
I try to use the one. I mean, there's some that give you healing and stuff, so I tend to use those a lot more. Some that give you buffs, I tend to use a lot more. The offensive ones, just unless you're running lower level stuff, I kind of just want them to like leave the damage like it is and just take the saving throw, make them automatic fail.
Well, I
Or
think you just
something
take
like
go ahead, just dial those like up to 11. Like I don't know why. Like you're doing a limited time event of things, right?
yeah.
Just dial it all the way up. Go ahead. Somebody runs to the end of one of the quests and throws a blade barrier, and like the red skull of kobolds chase them down and just die in the blade barrier, doing like 1,000 points of damage or something. Who cares? 1,000 might be a little
Like I
much,
don't
but
even need
like,
the damage to get really high. I want things to not save all the time.
well, I just hit like
So
don't save or
yeah.
something to make it. I personally think you should make that stuff be like feel really fun and powerful and like
I agree.
crazy and over the top.
I agree.
That's how I feel. Because there's zero motivation for me to click those buttons, right? Unless there's like a buff that happens to be really interesting, or like somebody gave me some on the hardcore servers so I could first teleport to the portable hole. Like they're good for stuff like that, but
Yeah.
they don't have a lot of lifespan in my opinion outside of like the hardcore. So.
I think
And I'd
that's
like
right.
them to be. I'd like them.
Yep. Finesse effects on named and crafted loot now function more reliably.
That's good.
Potions of greater heroism now apply their fear immunity.
I read this and I was so mad. I think that I saw somebody die because of this. I think I saw them drink a potion of heroism, expecting to be immune to fear and get feared and beaten to death.
Yeah. Several combo effects that are meant to add more than one spell power now correctly apply the intended spell powers. That's good. There's a lot of those, especially higher
There's
levels.
a lot of those.
Fix the typo in certain enhancement bonuses so that they can now scale appropriately to plus 15.
Isn't that nice that a typo could mess that up?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Rune Arm from Saltmarsh now has an epic and legendary version.
Are these good?
The Rune Arms?
Yeah, I have a viewer who's like, "You're gonna love it," and I'm just like, I look at it and I'm like, it seems so, but I haven't seen a big one.
So
I'm just gonna say no. That reaction tells me no. Okay, thank you.
well, Rune Arms in general, I find underwhelming.
I like Rune Arms.
They're fun. They just don't. I just don't find them to be like super amazing.
Well, that's just it. They're a fun thing for me. That's what I think they are. They add a little layer of fun to it. They give you a little extra damage coming in from a place that doesn't take spell points. It's a little bit of a time cost. Like I would like them to be appropriately kind of mathed out a little bit more. I think that they're probably a little bit scaled down than what they need to be to kind of make them a little bit more competitive. And I think that's probably something that needs to happen inside of the Destiny pack or
Sure.
Or the what is it? The I don't know, whatever. The action points.
Yeah.
Whatever that system's called now. It's been so long.
I find that the hassle to manage them doesn't tend to be worth what I'm getting from them. But I think that's more perception than reality.
Yeah, I think if you looked at the math and you were doing things, the problem is that now they've picked up an extra layer of time tax. For example, they turn off when you mount, which is nice that you can still mount, but they don't turn back on when you get off.
Right.
Right. So now you got to turn back on if you're going to use the auto, and you got to remember to hit the fire. You know what I mean? Like they have a little time tax to them.
Did they fix that?
Which is fine, but yeah, that's how it currently works. At least how it's worked on the hardcore server last. So I don't know. There's a few things that I think can be tweaked with them, but like I said, I haven't done that much with Saltmarsh, and people keep asking me if it's any good or not. And I just look at them. Yeah,
it's as good as any other one. So I find the thing with I haven't really used it because I haven't really been playing Artificer that much. But But the thing with rune arms I find is that I tend not to have DCs high enough for the reflex ones to, like, the reflex ones tend to be a lot less good because you're losing damage because they're making their saves all the time.
Right.
So I tend to try to find ones that are not reflex save based. That's kind of the trick.
Yeah, I like the force ones in particular. And I find those work okay. But I don't know, I feel like recently the developers have done like a pretty good job of, I think, listening to people, and I feel like this show in particular has done a really good job of like voicing some stuff. I feel like a lot of stuff in the last 6 months, I feel like we've talked about,
And they've made those changes.
9 months, and those changes have come on. So I'm feeling really positive about stuff like that. And now I just kind of like want to see, like, are rune arms any good? No, we need to tweak them a little bit. Like, I'm being selfish, and I apologize, chat, but it's important because I think we all deserve
This
rune
is why
arms
you're here,
that don't
man.
suck. Yeah.
Items from other adventure packs are no longer able to be used with Slave Lord's crafting. Furthermore, I believe I heard that if you did put Slave Lord's crafting on another item, it's going to go away.
Man, I feel like I missed something amazing, and now I feel really hurt. Man.
I feel really hurt about Slave Lord's crafting because I think I have once ever pulled the upper version of the thing.
I have literally only crafted stuff on the Slave Lord again on the hardcore server, and literally it's the same item, like at level 8. It's always like a con item of spot and something.
There were 2 items that dropped in the legendary version. One would give you could put a mythic 1, I think it was mythic 1, and the other one you could put a mythic 2 or mythic 3 on it. But
yeah,
you could use those to apply that to other items. If that's my understanding, and they're making that go away.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Yeah, it seems good. Anything that's not intended like that gets really weird sometimes, but
it's one of those, in the grand scheme of things, I think putting mythic 3 on items is not gonna break anything.
Well, it's nice if there's a way that you could have that kind of system upgrade anyway.
Right?
So
I don't disagree with either.
It kind of makes sense.
Kind of like the Reaper one?
Yeah, kind of.
Speaking of which, Reaper shard crafting recipes for goggles and gloves now function. Yay.
Hey, look at that.
And
nice?
I always love seeing these kind of notes. First blood no longer kills you if you cast a spell on yourself.
Tried so hard. So many times.
I have a question. Does this mean I could cast a spell on somebody else and it would kill them?
I think the idea is you try to hit somebody else on it, right? And if they haven't taken damage, you do like a bunch of extra damage. I was always under the impression that it was a big chunk, but it was never like all of it.
I've tried it once or twice,
right?
when it came out, and it was not impressed. And then
I weirdly use it like on my rogue builds and stuff. Like anything that I'm going to assassinate or sneak up onto, and I want to get that one big first hit to land. So if like my assassinate doesn't kill something, I want that hit to like obliterate the target anyway.
Okay.
So like that's the only place I've ever really used it, and even then it's not very good.
I tend to look at something like that and say, oh, okay, so if it's above 90%, I'll get extra damage. Well, if it's a trash mob, it's going to die fast. And if it's a boss, it's going to work for 10% of the time. So not so great.
Right.
That's kind
of he said, and that's literally the only time I can think of to use it is when you're the guy who's going to sneak up there and first hit that target so many times. And if it doesn't die when you hit it the first time, then you messed up. The rest of the time, I don't know if you would ever use that feat.
Right.
But I don't know how you had ever cast it before. That's the other thing.
Well, you would cast a spell on yourself, like a buff spell on yourself, and it would hit you.
Oh, that seems real bad. Oh, wow.
That's what I was saying.
I read that sentence wrong. I was like, how are they casting something on Earth?
That's what I was asking. If I cast something on a friend, does it hit them?
Man, that'd be sweet, actually. Talk about a way to troll people for reals.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Paladin Rs have been reworked behind the scenes to be quieter and slightly improve performance.
This is a theme, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how much, but improved performance showed up a lot
There's
in
someone
these
working on
notes.
performance improvements.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
think it's noticeable.
yeah. Here's a fun string of things. So they're redoing Artificer and Druid pets. So they'll no
Which
longer,
they said they were going to.
yeah, they're no longer going to go brain dead after climbing a ladder, or after being resurrected 33% of the time.
We'll see. Prove it.
They're supposed to be better at handling dismounting ladders.
Prove it.
The
We'll see.
system for selecting enhancements for Artificer's Iron Defender and Druid Wolf pets has been removed. Almost all existing enhancements for them are now granted automatically as those pets go up in level. The level they gain them at is the same as their previous minimum level for those enhancements. For Iron Defender pets, wow. Alignment enhancements are not automatically granted as they are mutually exclusive. You can now talk to any Artificer trainer to select your pet's alignment, which is now displayed as an effect on your pet. Your selection remains until changed, or until you reincarnate. The chaotic selections continues to provide the breaker of boxes behavior. Question: Why can druid pets not have this?
I'm kind of surprised they don't. It probably
Yeah,
will get copied over.
maybe
However, I will say, don't take this on the hardcore server.
the
Don't.
the breaker of boxes,
Correct.
because they'll blow up the boxes next to you.
Correct.
Yeah, good
Don't do it.
good tip.
Don't do it.
Uh,
No, I think this is good.
well, hang on. Let
I
me get
get
to
a
the rest.
lot
Let
of.
me get to the rest of them.
Oh, that's true. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Both the Defender and Wolf Pets threat generation reduction enhancements are not automatically granted, as they're mutually exclusive. You can now talk to any Artificer or Druid trainer, depending on your pet, and select either minus 40% threat from attacks, 0 threat, or 100% threat from melee attacks. Selection remains until you reincarnate and stack with all other sources of increased or reduced melee threat. The Defender pet, Wolf pet, and Skeleton pet now all have a baseline of 100% fortification at all levels. This stacks with gear and any feats or enhancements they have. Thank goodness, because that's kind of important. Okay, now tell us your thoughts on this.
Okay, so I feel like a lot of people really look at the pets and they go, "Man, I wish they were as good as Randy," which is what I call the skeleton, right? And I always ask people like, "What do you want out of it?" And realistically, at the end of the day, they just want something that's going to actually run out there and attack enemies, and they can look at it, and it's enough damage that it feels like it's contributing in a useful manner, right?
Is it bad that
So,
I've always treated them as bait?
well,
Like just a
bait,
meat shield?
opening
Like something
doors,
else to attack me that's
something
not
to
me?
like I've something else to hit the intimidate or not the intimidate
Yeah,
diplomacy button and hopefully hit just another body in like a Reaper quest on the hardcore, because that's your real defense on the hardcore
right.
server in Reaper is other bodies. So you summon your summons, you have your dogs, you have
Bring
your
pugs.
hirelings summon, bring pugs, have your hirelings that can summon pets, right? That's your real armor class. Is that if you're on for like Reaper and stuff, where the monsters will one shot you for reals. The thing is, don't be the one that gets hit.
Yeah.
So like I feel like a lot of those things, especially this year, I feel like I've seen a lot of artificers. And I think it's some of it had to do with this announcement being made that they were going to make these changes. But at the end of the day, is this what you want? Like, I'm
I mean,
glad that
I
they
think it's
become less
better.
dumb theoretically, right? But at the end of the day, we still just really need some sort of customizable pet technology that lets us like put some gear on, lets us kind of tweak a little bit of stuff, maybe an enhancement line that tweaks it, maybe a universal tree for whatever pet it is that you have out, kind of gets bonuses applied, something.
Sure.
But I'm literally happy to sit there and screw around with artificers and druid pets all day long and experiment with it. So
I
I'm happy to try it, but
I appreciate that I don't need to level it up anymore. Because I'll be honest,
That
there were
was
times where
tedious and
I
didn't
didn't use
happen.
it because I didn't want to deal with that.
Well, and that's
So,
part of it, right? Like it has a line that gives you extra threat generation, which they said, and then you also get when you're flanking extra damage, right? Which is again fine, but then are they going to be giving it evasion and the super fortification, right? Or do we have to pick still whether or not you have the evasion or the other thing to based on whether or not you take?
I think they're just gonna get. I think unless it was one of those things that was specified, they get it automatically now.
Yeah, and that's just it. I think more of that conversation that we were talking about before, but maybe a little bit less or so because this is a more permanent thing. But make these things stand out and be fun.
Yeah.
You know, they look at these defender dogs and they're like, ah, oh, it's awesome. They're doing like 20 points of damage at level 7. You know,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh man, these defender dogs are not very good anymore. They're doing like 20 points of damage at level 12. You know, and they just never get that much better. So
true.
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they'll work out. I would like to see them improve.
Absolute Zero now applies its frozen CC to fire enemies that are immune to death, instead of letting the death effect prevent both. Probably good. Watchful Eyes tooltip has been updated to make it clear that this ability needs Spot to function properly.
Is that one of the ones that didn't used to use Spot?
No, it's always used it. I thought it was clear, but I guess not. Watchful Eye is the one where like you can.
There's one that's pretty clear that you need both.
Yeah.
Right. There's one that you have to have the Spot and the search to be able to detect things, and there's one where you just need the search. At least as far as I know.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Combat Archery now properly provides +1 W. Good. Font of Life has a more accurate tooltip.
Awesome.
Okay.
I think any times it's the data is more accurate to what the things do, it's good.
Yep. Made a change to Reaper enhancement bonus removal to prevent dying again after releasing from a Reaper dungeon while dead.
You laugh, but that does happen.
I am laughing because it's funny. I haven't experienced it though.
I've experienced it once or twice. It's sad.
A variety of fixes to the acquisition of new slot-specific effects have been made that will prevent those effects from appearing on the wrong slot. What?
That's a really wordy way of saying we fixed something from spawning wrong, right?
Something of Reaper.
A variety of fixes to the acquisition of new slots. That's the one you just read, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think basically it's kind of like saying like magnetism is appearing on like a sword or something. You know what I mean? Like something that should be a defensive thing appearing on an offensive thing, or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something kind of odd like that.
The dice UI is back to being more appropriately justified against the icon portion. Cool.
I felt like it's been weird, different, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
I so rarely am paying attention to the dice. I feel like.
Well,
I don't even know what color my dice is.
Well, I always set my die for pink. But part of what happened last month is my video card exploded.
Right.
So I'm using like an older video card. So maybe like I've been chalking up a lot of stuff to the fact that I'm trying to use an older video card again. But it could totally make sense that this is part of that too. Like I said, there's just been some small things lately that seem different. And maybe this is one of those things getting tweaked back.
Guild rewards now beyond level 150 now mention the color change of your guild nameplate as part of the rewards. Cool. Tooltip on weapons now shows the correct proficiency penalty. Probably good.
Again, I'm glad that this stuff's fixed.
Yep. Details, the plus tab on your character sheet now shows both blast and pack dice and now correctly tracks your bonus hit point percentage.
I'm in for this so much.
Put as much shit in that thing as we can, right?
Well, I have the worst time trying to calculate that stuff.
I don't want to calculate that stuff.
Well, that's just it. Any place that
playing
it's done
a game,
for
I don't
me,
want to do math.
Better. Why? I want that stuff done for me. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it's here for. So I'm glad that it's there. I want to be able to find it.
Look, more power to the people that are doing like the DPS calculations and number crunching and stuff. But unless I'm like actively trying to do that, I don't want to do the math.
Well, that's just it. I
Do it
want
for
them to
me.
be. I want somebody to be like, "Yep, it's still correct," and I'd be like,
Mhm.
"Yes, that's all I need."
We can skip that one. Iconic reincarnation no longer erroneously fails to wipe your monster manual progression. Hey, that's great.
Well, sometimes those nice. The low level bonuses are nice. Get again and again. No, it's still good.
Well, you wouldn't get the if it didn't wipe, you wouldn't get the bonuses.
Oh no, it no longer erroneously fails to wipe. You're
Yeah.
correct. My bad.
Henchmen and and pets now benefit from epic summon bonuses again. Cool. Changes were made to some background event processes to aid server performance. Fixed a server
Yeah.
performance issue that could trigger under certain conditions when attempting to post something to the auction house. I assume this is when it closes on you.
Don't know.
There's also
So
the same thing for depositing
banks.
items into banks. I thought what it was that it's the closing thing, specifically with the bank one, but I don't know if that's right or not.
I don't know. All I know is these were pointed out to me for a couple of reasons, and I hope that what people are reading between the lines is true, and this will clean up some outstanding problems.
Yeah, maybe. When you cast a spell that has to bypass spell penetration, the combat log no longer mentions dodge.
Well, come on now. I want to know if he's dodging my spell penetration.
Shifter females now display bloody footprints.
Well,
I have
that's just hacks. That sounds completely worth. No. Turn it back off. Female shifters, you're not allowed to have footprints.
I actually think the same problem exists with the male shifters because I just went through my shifter lives and wasn't getting the footprints. It's very disappointing.
I honestly don't turn them on most of the time.
I turn them on because I move kind of fast, so it helps people follow me.
Yeah.
You may now hold your block key, default left shift, while falling with Featherfall to drop as you did not have Featherfall.
They really want me to wear Featherfall. You know that? They like rewrite the entire game. And this might as well say, Samus, please use Featherfall. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to work.
You can also
But
dismount from your mount while in midair the same way, so.
that sounds great.
Yeah.
I have the hardest time getting off my stupid mount. But no, I'll try it. This might be the best of both worlds, to be really honest.
Right.
This Featherfall thing.
So that's the release notes. We'll cover the known issues if they end up into the main game. Wanted to talk a little bit about some back-end changes for Lotro because reasons. So this was a note that was about Lotro specifically. We don't have any current plans to change server locations, at least none that I'm aware of. As other folks have pointed out, ping can be a bit of a red herring these days, as it is rarely the biggest factor when it comes to lag. It's certainly a contributing factor, and the further away you are from a server, the more your performance degrades. The dev who wrote this said, if you remember the DevOps days correctly, it's not a linear relationship, but it's been like 15 years, so could be wildly off from modern stuff. Anyway, since the lag investigations and improvements got underway in earnest a few months ago, they've made some solid strides. Obviously, they have a long way to go. They had some personal, pretty frustrating experiences playing, but they have additional work for Update 32 that we're cautiously optimistic about. The reason why I bring this up is because, a lot of the same thing is happening for DDO. The 64 server bit work unfortunately didn't wrap up before the end of the year as they'd hoped, but they made good progress and are still on it. I believe that work has already been done on DDO. Not positive. One of the most interesting historical artifacts with this game was it was built to assume more or most players were on dial-up. As they continued their archaeological excursions into the network code, they identified some areas of improvement, some of which are in active testing right now, And assuming they don't find any massive issues they can't resolve, will go out with update 32. This change may actually be on their test server already. They'd have to check. The game also does some really inefficient queries, particularly on login, that affect not just your login experience, but everyone else on the server, although others less so. They found some improvements that should hopefully improve login times, but also lead to less Halo for other players. This work is getting close and will enter testing soon as well. Cordovan wrote, in response to this on being posted on the DDO forums, they're looking forward to seeing what kind of live impact it has before committing to anything or saying much more. But yeah, assuming it works out, the plan is to bring this as quickly as is feasible to DDO. That's why we're talking about it. And he also said, clearly he's not an engineer, but in general, DDO uses very little bandwidth overall, and many players never get into a place where they would encounter an archaic cap on bandwidth. However, some can, and as they discovered, some do. So this has the potential to make for a smoother gameplay experience. It goes live in their other game today, and bringing it to DDO will be relatively easy should it prove itself out. So, there you go.
Yeah, I hope this really takes off. But there's a line in there. Think about that for 1 second. This line that they kind of expected that most of their players were on dial-up. Think how long some of the patches have taken. Right? And then imagine that you're on a dial-up instead. But that being said, like running the game, playing the game, it does use very little bandwidth. My wife VPNs in during the day to work at hospitals across the country, right? So like she uses a lot of bandwidth tunneling through, and DDO runs really well because of that kind of stuff. I don't want that to get messed up. Hopefully that should just get better even.
Right,
in theory. So I hope this really works out. I love it when they test shit out on Lotro. I really do. Every time when they're like, we're going to test it on DDO first, I'm like, no, why? Please test it over there.
I'm actually surprised they don't test it more on us.
That's just it, right?
I feel
like we should be the ones.
But
right? But maybe they think that same way. Like they want to see, because Lotro's that maybe makes all the money. Maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know. That's curious, but I feel like I want them to test it. Don't bring that stuff over here until you know it works.
It is kind of funny when they're saying that when they built the game, because this is for Lotro, the same would be true for DDO, which was built first. Correct. I'm just thinking like, okay, so when DDO came out, what was I using?
Well, that's just it. Like
it wasn't dial-up, but it wasn't far off.
No, I had a laptop. It's still around here somewhere, like a 14-inch laptop, and my network card went out, and I had to buy like an old-fashioned card slot, put it in, and plug in the slot, and it was not fast. It was not very fast.
Yeah.
But the game. I mean, 15 years, right? 16.
2006
anniversary.
It was when it launched. So.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yep. Yeah, last year was the 15th anniversary because of the code and stuff. So.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So,
yep.
16 years, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Think about some of the stuff that you're going to be able to say, like, I grew up with this technology, right? Like these things have become. I'm 42 this year, so like more things have become more apparent. You know, like my son will never know what a phone is that has a cord on it, right? Like little things like that.
Yeah.
And if you think about that, we're playing a game that was built without the idea of what the internet is today. You know what I mean? Like the speeds and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those technological leaps that have happened in the last few years that are baffling, and we're still running on some pretty old tech. So I'm hopefully this will take off and move really quick.
If you want to have some fun, go find the I have no idea which number it is, but go find the episode we did when it was DDO's 10th anniversary. And I did some research and just pulled a bunch of things like, here's what's changed in the world in the 10 years since DDO came out. And I recall like one of them, like Twitter didn't exist.
Yep.
when DDO started. So
Yep. Like imagine stuff like that, right? Like think about it. Twitter didn't exist before DDO.
I also remember that I looked up the price for college at the university I went to, and it had gone up by a factor of 3.
You know, say we don't want to look at that now.
Yeah, right.
We don't want to look at those anymore. Those are not statistics. Like we don't look at the price of milk anymore. We don't look at that stuff. That stuff.
Let's see. Bonus days. DDO bonus
This
days
one's nice.
will bring you a 30% crafting XP boost through today. So if you're listening to this live, you have a little bit of time left.
I always miss these crafting ones too.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Also, VIPs get an additional 10% XP through January 26th.
Yeah, this was nice when I heard this. I was like, oh, really? It's nice. Because I was talking to Jerry, and I'm like, man, I don't really get to play during the weekends, so I miss every one of these bonuses. So like, going to January 26th is just a nice perk for those of us who don't play on the weekend.
Oh yeah. Oh, it goes to I didn't notice that. The XP boost goes to 26. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. I never really understood why they didn't just make it a week long.
I don't understand either, but I think the idea is to kind of the special. Obviously, server load's higher on the weekend, right? Part of the reason I don't play is because it's so much higher. So like, it kind of makes sense, but it would be nice if it would go an extra day or two for some of us. You know, start on Thursday, maybe end on Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really nice when he mentioned that. I was like, oh yeah, through the 26th, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. I will say that I did have a probably like 2 or 3 months where it was like, oh look, it's gonna be a big XP weekend. Cool. Guess who's working the whole weekend?
Yep.
I had like one of
right. That's just it though. Like when they hit and they feel bad. You know what I mean? I think that's part of it. Is that because it's a thing that varies like a limited time, and if you miss that window, it's always going to have a kind of a little bit of a feel bad. But if you like did 2 days during the week and 2 other days for the weekend, I think it would.
Yeah,
it'd be nice. But you don't have to. It's fine. It's a bonus, right? Bonus is a bonus. Gift with purchase.
I like it when it goes to end of the week, right? Like
I do like it like that though.
I work in an industry where people have different weekends, right? Like most people that I'm actually a special flower in my industry because my weekend is actually Saturday and Sunday for my primary job. Most people who work in my industry, their weekend is Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
So.
Well, it's like I normally my busy days for working are usually Fridays and Saturdays.
Yep.
Right, because I'm running Magic events and Magic tournaments and stuff like that. So people are like, "Oh, why don't we just do this thing on Saturday?" It's like, well, because I'm going to be running 12 hours of Magic tournament. Hopefully, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? So it's for non-standard people. So it's nice when they spread it out a little.
Yeah, spread them out more.
That's I appreciate it. At least, like maybe if they did it once a month or something, and the experience like carried on a little bit longer, like the first week of the month or something like that, where you can see that VIP reward a little bit more often. We had talked about that in the past, that it feels like the VIP benefits need adjusting again. Something like that, I think, would go a long way to really help.
I mean, hell, also, like the DDO, the double daily dice being a whole week, so it doesn't matter where your dice rolls are, your gold rolls are, right?
Yeah, it would be really nice too.
Store sales, Dress to Kill, 25% off of Mirrors of Glamoring, bypass timers, select cosmetic outfits, select hats, helmets, and hair dyes through January 27th.
I may have to buy stupid bypass timers.
25% off. Get that to buy.
I know, that's why I'm saying I gotta decide. Now's the time, right?
The coupon code is a free summoned repair shop. The coupon code is Fix It Now through January 27th. They're handy things to have.
They are.
The only time I have ever thought to use them is when I did not have them on. They were in my bank.
So this is another one of those things that maybe shouldn't. I think there should be another tab or something of like items that are like for charges instead. Necessarily,
like the repair thing and like the shrine portable.
Yeah,
shrine.
something
I like
You
this
know,
idea.
that, the shrine, like the potions, stuff like you buy from the store,
Mm-hmm.
the Una things. I feel like we need to change the idea that they go in our backpack and maybe that they go into a. Sorry, my clock's gonna go off.
No,
But
I
I'm
like it.
more into like a digital space and the free up space, free up things, and make them where they're available on across characters a little bit easier. I think that would make a lot of more sense in the long run for people.
Yeah, I like that idea. That'll take us to community news. Uh, the 452nd Chronicle, because we didn't have a show last week. High Lords of Muck here doing their 2022 Teaching Raid series, so you can check those out. A group of players have conquered Heroic Elite Abbot on the hardcore server.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, and
It's really good.
I don't think anyone died, which is even more impressive.
I think if you have good communication, Abbott is not that hard of a raid to do. But you have to have a plan. You have to have good communication. And the group who did it, like this is Sapphire and Dom's group, I think
Yeah,
they are the best. They're the people that like when I compete every year for the high favors and stuff. Those are the people that I'm competing against and with.
yeah. But if you want to watch, they have a video about it. If you want to see people run Abbott on hardcore, uh,
Definitely would check it out.
I super love it. That was it's always kind of like to me that struck me as kind of like the near pinnacle of quests to run. The only thing would be more impressive is Too Hot to Handle, I think. And even
Yeah.
that's less scary these days, but still
Well, right
plenty
now
scary.
there's like 5 of those guys, right, or 6 of those guys tops.
Well,
Like for a lot of the raids
that are
last year,
still
Pip and
alive.
I. Well, that's just, like I said, last year Pip and I joined them for a lot of raids,
Right.
and like we were, like 7 and 8 often in that group, or sometimes even 5 and 6 in that group. So like I don't know if you could potentially get a group fill and too hot to handle. That's
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
it is pretty good. But I mean, that'd be kind of a fun thing to do.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Jungles of Kyber is a new Discord for Kyber players. So you can check out the forums to get a link to the Discord there. It's just an open group. As long as you follow the rules, you're welcome to hang out there. Let's see. Guild for the week. Players are looking for your guild. Check out recruitment forums and find a new person to join you. Translation. Jerry needs guilds to feature.
Yeah.
You can email contact@standingstonegames.com with the subject line Guild Hall to get your guild featured. The comment for the week. Questions. What is your 2020 goal for DDO?
Man, that's a tough one.
Did you catch what's funny about this?
Huh?
2020.
Oh my goodness. I just realized that. So what was my 2020 goal for DDO? I bet you it was something to do with like finishing the racials or something.
Yeah.
That seems right. Um
I finished.
but
I finished a
assuming
guy
that
that
it's
year.
meant assuming that it's meant to be 2022, Pat,
Yeah, one would
do you
assume.
have a DDO goal?
Um, I'd like to finish my current TR project this year. That might
Like finish like
seems doable.
is it 151 or is it like some other plan?
Uh, the Reaper points is not a specific goal. Just get a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
If
Well, no, I
I
just meant, are you gonna? Isn't it every life completion TR
oh
project, or is it
no
a?
no.
Okay, that's what
He's
I was wondering.
working on racials. And then has some heroic and iconics.
Yeah, I think if I were to do it over again, I'd definitely make sure I worked my iconics in time to do class stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I do the racials first, and then my current strategy is to do the racials first, and then do heroics. I do iconics with them because it
Yeah,
takes me less time to go from 15 to 30 than it does to go from 1 to 20.
yeah, I pretty much got both of them down to a week, so with practice.
Yeah.
But I understand why a lot of people like yourself, especially if you had a big network of people to lean onto in epics,
It's where most
that
people
really makes
are
it.
too. So
Well, that's just it. And that really
yeah.
makes it go
Yep.
skyrocket, right? If you get in a group that's like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're going to go do Reaper 3 or Reaper 4 Sharn. Like, hey, can a 23 come in, be a
Mm-hmm.
be a little kid or whatever? Yeah, sure, whatever. Whee! And then you're like
Yeah.
level 27 in like an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Epic XP is cake. There's so
yeah.
much.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Let's see. Fansite
Uh,
news. Or did you have?
well, I was just going to say, I don't know if I have a goal right now other than just keep playing DDO in 2022, to be
Yeah,
honest.
perfectly
Um,
reasonable.
I said right now we're dealing with that burnout stuff, and it's hard. It's really tough this year for some reason. I'm not sure.
It'll come back.
I sure it will, right? Like, there's
I've
a
been there.
reason why I'm attached to this game,
Yeah,
right? So it's just riding that wave out.
it's a fun game and fun people to play it with. That's why I play.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's see. Fansite news. We got a shout out for our review of Update 51. DDO Players looks back at the year that was, so you can check out their 2021 review of DDO Players news. Saba Jade with Damsel's Game continues video recording one quest per day. This time it's Stream of Insanity. I do like that quest, and I don't run it hardly
It's a
ever.
fun quest.
DDO Stream is your first stop to find DDO on Twitch. Last week was DDO PL learns not to laugh at dragons. Bard Life gets a glowy keyboard, and Brighter Days Ahead takes down a Dracolich. On Twitch, Samius Gurobo tries, but Kurdo dies.
So aggravating, man. Like, again, we could talk about them a little bit more if we want, but
Yeah.
when you're on the hardcore and you're in a quest, you have to keep your mental game tight, which is tough to do when you're doing something as pedantic as like hiding on the ladder, waiting for a trap to disable.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's the key. You can screw around and zone off when you're not in the quest. But in the
Well,
quest, you got to pay
you got to be
attention.
careful about not jumping off a cliff.
You do
That
generally
can.
have to be careful of that too, I guess. But most people don't immediately go jump off a cliff to their doom.
Yeah.
Most.
Let's see. Zara of Orion runs Reaper 1, Dryad, and the Demigod. Olivia Crowley runs Hardcore. And on YouTube, Rhinoceros runs a Wizard. Strimtom thinks Shadowkai make excellent wolves. And Raker DDO heads into Death House on Reaper 10. This week's Chronicle, the 453rd Chronicle, Aldbar creates the Phoenix build. Zavina has a look at the new raid loot on Lemania. It's great if you want to check out the new raid loot. The comment: the problem with magic spellbooks is they blank.
They run?
Spontaneously combust,
Oh man, that would be the worst.
or attract thieves.
Well, that's not that bad. That's just like a source of income, right? If a thief comes at your book all the time. But like, you got to make it punny, right? Like if they run, so that's like if the text runs away or they try to run away, like they grow feet and run away. I don't know. It's tough, man. Spellbooks.
They're
They're like
attractive.
they're an important part of your life, man.
Yeah.
As a wizard, you have to have them.
Here's what Fantasia, right?
Mhm.
What's the name? Oh, I can't remember the name of that part. The apprentice. Mickey Mouse is the apprentice, right?
Mhm.
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
That what it is, yeah.
Getting the book going. Boom, boom.
Also a middling Nicolas Cage movie.
I actually like that movie.
It was okay.
It's weird. I love any of those like magic in modern day stuff, though.
Yeah, that can be fun. Sure.
Yeah, pretty much anytime there's magic in X fantasy, I'm in though.
Yeah,
I'm just a magic guy, I guess.
We got a shout out for DDOCast, going on a Barovian Blitz. We ran through part 1 and 2 of Ravenloft. DDO Stream is your first stop to find DDO on Twitch. This week, Doug gets by, Brighter Days Ahead reincarnates, and Voodoo Spice teaches raids. Also on Twitch, Deathy TV runs to 3500, Arcanaverse gets derailed, and Skull Priest 1210 has your release notes. On
Yeah,
you.
no link for this last death. This last one was kind of weird.
On YouTube, the Damsels game run the Tomb of the Shadow Knight. Axel delves into melee cleric choices, and Strimtom has the best worst bard build. And needs grammar training, I guess.
I bet that was a Strimtom wording.
Update 52, patch 1 arrives next week. This patch includes a bunch of bug fixes along with preparations for our upcoming Snow Peaks Festival. There you go. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
Yep.
that's part of what they announced.
Mm-hmm. Sounds right. As far as DDOCast news, we're still running DDOCast Splat. Just some updates on D&D Night on DDO stream. There's going Evil Beaker is retiring from D&D Night on DDO stream. So if you want to run a game, there's going to be an open week. I think just kind of going forward, there's going to be more weeks with not a thing. The people that are doing it, we're having a lot of fun. We're going to keep doing it. And in fact, I'm actually looking at starting another group that'll be kind of a side, not for D&D night, but doing some more D&D tabletop on DDOcast and Twitching Night. So I think that's going to be happening. But just know that D&D Night on DDO stream is shrinking at the moment. And so there may not be a new show every week. And in fact, I don't think there was one there wasn't one today. I don't think there's going to be one next week, and I don't think there was one last week. So that's just how it is. If you want to see more tabletop D&D on DDO stream, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Jerry, and we'll get you plugged in, and we can make it happen. We just need people that want to do it and have the time to do it. That's all.
It's that time of year too, right? Like getting after the holidays and getting back in the job of things. So
I expect in the summer it's going to be even more because Jerry usually goes out like April to September. So, but I think we're still gonna there's still gonna be D&D night on DDO stream. I just don't expect it to be every week anymore. So,
right.
And I'm putting together a group that's going to run on DDOcast. That's going to run through Tomb of Annihilation. So that should be fun.
Yeah, you were saying that you were going to be starting that pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm still kind of going through. I'm through the first several parts of it, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So we'll let you know when we're gonna be doing that on DDOcast on Twitch, but you can also find it on our website and on YouTube. Just know that if you watch it on Twitch, you can use channel points to influence the game. I have stuff set up so you can give players advantage and inspiration and stuff like that. So, little audience participation.
Yeah, that is really fun when the audience interacts with the games.
Yeah, that's my thought as well. So that'll take us to a little bit of lightning posts. Christopher wrote in and says he's been surprisingly happy with Shadow Dancer on his Eldritch Knight Illusionist Sork lives. Force and Universal Spell Power feed well into the casting side of his attacks. Those sneak attack dice and melee power are noticeable when throwing out crowd controls. Basically only gone up Draconic Incarnation for the extra spell sword dice and focused otherwise on Shadow Dancer, and it's been solid. That's great. It's always fun when people I like hearing about when people find kind of like these cool combinations that work for them. So,
well, I'll tell you, I've really basically only played in Shadow Dancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, basically. And I found it to be really, really good. I played a little bit with some of the other stuff, but primarily the Shadow Dancer.
That's fun. Mark wrote that he totally agreed with Voodoo's take on twisting. Tier 4 from anything was amazing. Yep. It's true.
I don't. There's a lot of things that I have a difficulty with on the system now. I feel like if there was a one, like your primary tree would act, or not necessarily a primary tree, but whatever one you like put in the middle or something, you could go one thing higher than you can in the other ones.
Sure.
I think it would really help. No, like
something to move. So you're talking about having something to make it easier to move vertically.
Correct.
Yep. We've had this conversation.
I know. I feel like I'm gonna continue to hamper it until 6 months from now, and they fucking change it. Pardon my French, but I feel like you need something. Like it just needs
I'm with you.
a little couple of more things.
Mm-hmm.
It's close. I'm very impressed with it. It is very close. It's like 80% there.
Did you go into epics on hardcore?
I am sitting at level 20 and I'm really debating it.
Okay.
I part of it's because my unfamiliarness with the system, because you've got to know what you're going to go into,
Sure.
kind of,
I was thinking that experience would be a lot better on hardcore this season because of the changes, though, because you don't have to level stuff up and.
Yeah, it might be a little bit better, but I also have the feeling it's going to feel more like something that you should stop and do, but you're going to have the same problem that I think on the hardcore that you do on live, where
Yeah.
it feels like those points just don't get used.
Yeah.
Well,
Something we talked about when we talked about Update 51's review that we didn't really, or that I think we kind of missed was we're talking about like monster balance, and I have noticed that like the raid bosses are a little tough. Like Vela and Demon Queen are tougher, more Vela than Demon Queen, but like she's
yeah,
just beefier.
I don't think I've done either one of them on live.
On the on Epic Bond 6,
Mm-hmm.
she is noticeably beefier.
That's probably good. I feel like
Yeah.
she had gotten pretty quick right there. The last time I went in, I think it was like not even a whole minute. That seems even long for that fight.
She does a lot more damage too. I mean, the group that I ran it with this morning, this afternoon, I think we still were under 10 minutes completion. But
Yeah, but how
she
long was
did
that actual fight? Right, that fight was probably 30 seconds to a minute.
no. No,
It was
no. Oh
longer?
no. Yeah, it was much longer. I think it took us about 4 minutes to do the island, maybe 3 or 4 minutes to do the island.
Yeah.
It was about
So you
5
think it was
minutes.
like 5 minutes to beat down
Yeah.
Vela?
Yeah.
That seems good though.
There were well, part of it was
Well,
there were several dragon sweeps and people were just ignoring them, and a lot of people were just dying to them because they
yeah,
didn't
you
have a lot of hit
can't.
points.
Yeah, you
So
can't let that go.
she does more damage now too. So
Yeah,
that was
again,
one
that
thing.
sounds good to me. That's the kind of balanced stuff that I would like to see happen. And I
Yeah.
would like them to say that they did it. Like, hey, we're looking at rebalancing X, Y, and Z. Give us your feedback. Bam.
No, I think it's an improvement. I like it better, and it feels more meaningful.
It sounds
It is
good.
shocking a few people though. So
All I know is we the where Jerry died, that time that we linked up there, we were in the Vaughn raid and we got up there and we beat the quest and we were going to go into the raid and they decided to go in on normal. And I just like, after talking with the other people in the quest, they're like, well, Jerry died, we don't really care anymore. Like, and they went in on normal, but like
no,
people were so scared, I guess now. So I don't know, but none of those balance changes should really have affected
that they should not have changed
a
that. No.
heroic. Yeah, not really in heroic. So I don't know what everyone's so scared about. It
I
was
mean, it
weird. It
was
was so
easier than I
odd to
thought it
me.
was going to be when we did it season 1.
Yeah, well,
I
and
was
I've done it
expecting
every
it to be a
season
little.
since then.
I was expecting it to be a little harder than it actually ended up being because we did it in like under 3 minutes on Elite.
Yeah, like I don't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
Why they bother? Why they even like? I feel like not only did the reason that I was even playing on the hardcore die, but then you decided to go and do the quest that took me an hour to do, and then decide to do the next part on elite or on
Normal.
normal
Yeah.
instead of elite. I don't know. And that was the logic. It was like, oh, I'm like, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
And it felt weird.
Conan wrote in a replicating. So we're talking about like how to make Reaper kind of more fun and add some Reapers. Said a replicating Reaper doubles every 6 seconds, about the same as a Doom Reaper, but no stacks and drops the new Reaper fragments. Doubling Reapers sounds a little crazy and scary.
Well, I
Which
feel
is
like they could do a
good.
lot of really cool stuff with
Yeah.
Reapers. A replicating Reaper does sound kind of scary. But imagine if that replicating Reaper, like, you still basically just had to kill the base. And like maybe these were tethers that kind of essentially came off of it. And the more
Yeah.
tethers there were, the more defenses are bigger the main one got as well. And you're like, more damage is going out and more defenses are building. So like you still have to deal with the idea like, do you want to knock down the arms or you just want to go after the body? Like that's really what that decision point
Interesting.
is, right?
Yeah. So
You could do a lot of cool Reaper stuff though.
the thing that I always go back to with Reapers is I really liked what Severlin said when it's like, hey, we want to choose new Reapers and we want them to be something other than just kill it with fire. Like to
Yeah.
make you think about how you're going to kill it, which is where you get the Vengeance Reaper, which I really like that. I would kind of want to see some Reapers that are going to be that maybe they favor attacking them in a certain way, right? Maybe this one, it's better if you're a melee and bad if you're a spellcaster or ranged, or maybe one that's they're all kind of bad for melee, but like if there's something like
would
that.
you like one that blows your screwed up real fast? since I guess we'll give out a free one to SSG. How about a Reaper that attaches to you, like and goes to your back, right? So you're never allowed to damage this particular Reaper. Okay,
Interesting.
you can't do it. Okay, but as long as it's attached to you, friendly fire's on.
So like kind of like Intellect Devourer ish. That's interesting.
Well,
Like they have to,
if
the party has to damage you to kill the Reaper.
not necessarily has to damage you,
Okay.
right? But if the AOE splashes or were to touch you, they would get it.
Sure.
So,
Interesting.
like, ideally, the best way to deal with the thing would be to stop, hold still, and let like the melees or the ranged or whatever line up their shots to make sure that you don't get hit,
Right.
right?
Interesting.
But strike through stuff like that starts to come into play as well, right? So, like, there's plenty of things that you can do to attack the gameplay with Reaper or Champions or Hardcore or whatever.
Which is the
That I
goal.
think we have lots of different which is the goal.
Yeah.
So I think we have lots of different possibilities. This one, a replicating Reaper, I could see some real potential.
Yeah. We also got an email from DivTag on Galanda for a bunch of ideas for adding value to VIP subscribers. I'm not gonna read it. It was kind of lengthy suggestions, which I kind of boiled out. Their idea was essentially to have like a VIP lounge, if you will, and then a bunch of different kind of things that you could do in there to get buffs and stuff. To me, it kind of felt like it was kind of on an interesting track. I think instead of having a VIP lounge, player housing would be, a more obvious step to me. And if having VIP give you bonuses to private housing, seemed like a better, essentially kind of the same idea. Not that I want to only be VIP, but
you could work that into that solution. But you guys know that I continuously try to push player housing as a way to fix like the inventory problems as well as like the TR cache problems and stuff like that. I feel like you're asking a lot of this one system. You definitely could use it to design that scope. I think that what you want to do is have other programs for the VIPs, like the extended bonuses, like the secondary tier bonuses. I think you want to have, like, it's weird to suggest some sort of mini event type situation that's a VIP only kind of thing, but I think that that's something you can do pretty easily.
they did that with
Where, like,
hardcore, and it was fairly successful.
well, yeah, but I mean something that you could do on live that would be even like
Sure.
more kind of special, right? Like, I hate to use like the sparkle effect, but you could use something like that everyone who's a VIP has a sparkly burst effect for a day or a couple of days or whatever. Like, you can do stuff to thank them that's non game effective necessarily. But I think everyone's starting to really pick up on the fact that the VIP bonuses are definitely not where they just They
Yeah.
should be. And I definitely get a vibe that is well known across the field. So I don't know how that's going to be addressed. I hope the new producer's letter it'll be addressed in that, which should
That would be
be
nice.
next month sometime. And I hope there's a real plan because I think that is something that needs to be addressed really closely.
Yeah, I don't think I need more power. I just
Yeah,
want more
that's just it.
convenience, right? Like,
I more something, um, like something that I threw out um, a couple of weeks ago. For example, was and I used it in reference to like the more as a hardcore potential reward, but like after you do a couple of TRs, that character is going to be the biggest version of that character possible, right?
mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to make a the smallest possible gnome character, for example, to make like a bear, right? To make the tiniest bear gnome build, I would have to roll up a new character. Right? How I would like control of that ability as a VIP to decide my size if I've unlocked other sizes. But
Okay,
that's something
interesting.
that other people have never thought of, right? I bet you there's something that you have thought of that would be perfect for that. That would be along those same lines. That's more of a convenience or graphical or a customizationable thing that should be within the realm of the game to do, but just nobody's thought, oh, you know what? I bet a VIP would like to be able to tweak that or play with it or use it.
Yeah.
And those little things could be the difference between keeping me as a VIP sub or I step down to a premium player here in March or April or something.
Yeah. Uh,
Right? You know what I mean? Like these are all nice things that I feel like they can address and pull out of nowhere that would be something that would mean something I think to a lot of people.
they're definitely not impressing me with the VIP perks these days.
Not right now, right? Like they
And
feel
like when they did
underwhelming.
did Salt March, like, hey, we're gonna give you a free VIPs a free elixir of discovery. Like, okay, thanks, but not selling.
I
Not
was
doesn't cover it. But
I was pretty excited to have that this go around for the hardcore server. I was excited. I was going to pop it like when we got to Ravenloft and people were going to get all their Ravenloft gear and blah blah
mm-hmm.
blah. And I was like kind of excited. I thought somebody else would have another one for when we got to Sharn, blah blah blah. No. So like I don't even know if they haven't would have actually made a difference in the gameplay or not because the people
Yeah,
that didn't do that stuff I just moved right past it.
right. Yeah, like
So
I don't know something. I I don't know. End of the day, I don't need something that's more powerful. Like I don't think I want VIPs to be more powerful. I just want more convenience, right? Like
well, it's little things,
so.
right? Like your backpack inventory is a little bit nicer, a little bit neater.
Yeah.
Um, like some of these limits are crazy.
I mean, you do
Why
get
can't
more
you?
inventory than you think you do because of like the shared bank and some slots from there and stuff
You
too.
do get some, but like um, mail limits or not being able to check your mailbox a little bit more conveniently, or you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
there's some convenient things that I think could be justifiable in payment um, pretty easily that I think would be meaningful. And then save fixing problems for later, you know, like
Yeah.
there's got to be a good VIP program out there. And I'm hoping that they're addressing that in a letter.
I mean, I think it like giving VIPs like a just flat 5% chance, more higher chance to get named loot, or
Well,
like you think about
I've
the
said
bonus
for a
days
long
and like
time,
just to have like smaller versions of those always on VIPs. Like that's a
yeah,
place to start.
there's a place to start. I've always felt like VIP should not have quest ransack.
Yeah,
Like that to
I
me is that would
even just
be
a shorter ransack, right? Like even if you just took the ransack from 7 days to 3 days,
no, I feel like you just get rid of it. You just get rid of it for
that could be
VIPs.
fun
There's
too.
no reason to have it. If a VIP wants to run a request 80 times to get something, let him do it.
I
I
don't
feel
know if
like
I want there to be not ransacking a raid, but otherwise,
Raids, maybe you can have raid timers still continue on or something like that, or whatever. Maybe in a set of special rule. But like, think about how much it sucks on the hardcore when you're trying to put together some stupid
right?
set,
Yeah,
and
you hit a ransack.
you hit a ransack,
No,
and
that's
you're like, why
good.
do I even pay for this stupid? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like stuff like that just makes sense to me. Fix that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that would be huge.
Yep. Well, hey,
Facial
let's
hair would
facial
be pretty.
hair.
That would be huge. Imagine that, wouldn't you? How many people out there would like to have a mustache that don't have a mustache? Yeah, that's what I thought.
VIP only cosmetics.
VIP only mustache.
You sure. Well, hey,
Heard her folks.
let's close out the show.
Sounds good.
We will not tack on the update 52 review here.
Oh, I killed enough time for you. You stretched out 2 shows, sell 5. Bam.
So that'll probably be next weekend. Which will work out great. Those release notes were longer than I remember them being.
They were surprisingly longer
Yeah.
than you'd think, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interesting trends in there if you're kind of looking between the edges a little bit. Lots of performance increases, and a lot of what really is looking at making changes to the back end for efficiency and making it tighter. Like, these are all extremely positive things to keep in mind the next time your game just like randomly dies in the middle of nowhere. Like, oh, but they're making progress on it. I'll just relog in. And
You want to plug your stream?
sure, I stream kind of sporadically right now. I'm hoping to probably turn the corner back to get on schedule. Over on twitch.tv/Samius Gurobo or youtube.com/Samius Gurobo or now twitter.com/Samius Gurobo. You guys might notice I'm working really hard at being every place at Samius Gurobo. On Cash App at Samius Gurobo now. Yeah. We had a big hardware failure, like I mentioned before, in December. And then in December, I got extremely sick, and then I got extremely sick again right at the start of the year. One of those 2 times was probably COVID, and it really tore me up. So it's been a little bit getting back in the regular schedule of things, but we're doing a lot of DDO. We're doing kind of what I mentioned before, like getting back to the things that I enjoy about DDO, the builds that I think are a lot of fun, kind of getting back into that kind of stuff. As well as actually we started playing games on the Switch again. There's a couple of interesting games coming out, a new Pokemon game coming out at the end of the month, and what is it called? Triangle Tactics, that'll be coming out in a few months. So a couple of new games, not just DDO all the time, but mostly DDO still.
Yeah. I forgot to mention there was a question in the chat a while back that I was going to put in the lightning post. Like, do we have or Argonian book romance? Do we happen to know what the next race will be? No. My short answer.
Think so. I don't think any hints have been dropped.
I assume it will be related to Isle of Dread somehow, maybe loosely. Whether that is class versus like more class versus race, like
I
whatever
think
the
it's a
iconic
lizard
is.
folk.
But
I feel like lizard folk was a common race in the Isle of Dread when I played it 1,000 years ago.
I don't know Isle of Dread very well.
I'm trying to think if I have it. I'll look. I may have a copy of Voodoo has a copy of Isle of Dread, right?
Probably he did a like a 40-minute video of what Isle of Dread too. So
I might have to watch his thing. I have the feeling that lizard folk is a thing, and I think lizard folk would be a popular enough race in DDO that they could do that.
It would be the first monstrous race, so that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think it would take that much to switch the model from like Dragonborn to lizard folk, lizard man or something. Yeah, I feel like
tail. I know Sev really wants to do like the Gith, but I don't know that this is a place that would happen. Like Githyanki, Githzeri. I think it's something that he's always kind of wanted to do, but
I would like to see Asimar. The more Eberron-based things that show up in Eberron. Clash Star. Sorry, Clash Star.
Oh, there you go. That would be good.
Um,
Yeah, I like
but I
that
don't know
one.
if I don't know if it needs to be in the game now since we have gnomes.
Sure.
You know, like that notch, that intelligence based race is kind of filled, but it'd be nice to have it to like feel like more Ebron stuff kind of completion.
I'll tell you, having
Um,
gone through working through the Temple of Annihilation, like one, I think it'd be really interesting to see how they could translate that to DDO. Two, it'd be nice to go to a different place in Forgotten Realms, than Evening Star. And three, you could do Turtle as a race,
Turtle would be really
which would be
cool.
kind of interesting.
I
So
I just think that if we're gonna take this time and energy to go to Isle of Dread, please, SSG, for the love of God, think about the fact that everybody wants to play a halfling dinosaur rider and put the code in place to do this.
dinosaur mounts.
Patrick, do you want to ride dinosaurs?
I
Do
mean,
you want to be a
yes,
halfling dinosaur rider? Okay. So out of an unofficial survey, 100% of the people on this podcast would like to play a halfling dinosaur rider. I bet if we expand, that ratio will continue to maintain the same.
probably.
Put the groundwork in now so we can have dinosaur mounts for the halfling dinosaur rider. And not just the Velociraptor mount and cop out on it, but all the mounts. Sweet dinosaur mounts.
Also, in
Come
Tomb
on,
of
everybody.
Annihilation is rules for riding dinosaurs and racing dinosaurs, so
Yeah, I
that
think
could
it'll be
be
really
interesting.
fun. Because think about like once you have done the classic Isle of Dread pack, you have dinosaurs, you have that kind of stuff, you have the riding it technology. The stories that are available all of a sudden in Eberron really open up too, right? Like
Yeah.
again, you have all of the the halfling dinosaur plane stuff. You can do all sorts of exciting adventures there. Dinosaur chases on the lightning rail. That quest would be amazing. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot of interesting things you could do once you have that technology kind of figured out. I hope that they take the time to make it happen
Could
under
be a
the
fun
guise of an
quest if you
expansion.
were just stuck on a dinosaur and riding a dinosaur around. That could be interesting.
Right? Like you got to ride the dinosaur to like it gives you an opportunity to take the game and do
Different
any
things.
other kind of style of platform or game that you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, we're pod racing, but on the back of a dinosaur in
I was gonna
DDO.
say Mario Kart, but
Mario Kart works too, right? Like
yeah.
any opportunity that you can take the game and attack it from a different angle, especially if there's an opportunity there for you to do something that's like P versus P. Like if you were to have P versus P dinosaur races and maybe have that as an event that happens once a year, every couple of, you know what I mean? Every couple of months, I bet dinosaur races would be real popular. I bet if there's a
Yeah.
leaderboard on dinosaur races, I bet it'd be real,
Dude,
real popular.
stop printing money for SSG, man.
I know. I know. That's what I do. It's what I do.
Well, hey, thanks, Samus, for joining me tonight. Thanks for everyone for listening to the show. Thanks for all the folks that help with DDOCast, and thanks to Standing Stone Games and Wizards of the Coast and the Cyberbears. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website at DDOcast@gmail.com. You can also support us on Patreon. Visit us at our website, DDOcast.com. If you have a DDO themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and like to be featured on our website, send me an email and we'll make that happen for you. See, hit us up at DDOcast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, other fun stuff, including DDO adventures and some D&D tabletop and maybe even some other games occasionally. What's that? Tomb of Annihilation coming sometime maybe Marchish? I think it's probably February, Marchish. We'll see. Probably like a once-a-month thing. If you have a comment on this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi, leave a comment or email us at didocast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on social media, and at DDOcast on Twitter is the best place. And you can find Samus at Samius Gurobo on Twitter as well.
That's true. And sometimes I even say funny things.
So until next time, all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for bus.